my kitchen. I wanted to talk today about a few things I've been watching over the past few months. Technically, this is like my spring summer wrap since fall doesn't start until September 22nd. But to me, when it's September, it's fall. Like it's cooling down. I've already started my fall activities. You know the drill. But yeah, I wanted to yap about a few things that I've watched because I've really been on my grind. I am a serial start and stopper when it comes to shows. So I'm really proud of this list that I've compiled. I have a physical list here since I'm recording on my phone. But yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. So starting in June, I watched 3 shows, or finished 3 series. Forever was the first, which I'm so happy got renewed for a 2nd season. I feel like Forever was just such an incredible representation of young Black love, especially in like the college scene, because I feel like a lot of these young romance shows are set in high school or maybe even younger. So it was nice to finally get some kind of college representation, even though I'm like 2 years post-grad. I feel like it was just such a beautiful display of like the high class Black experience. It doesn't even have to be high class, like just, I feel like it was just such a beautiful display of these complex characters navigating what it means to be an adult. I loved how all of the Black people, literally, all of the characters, period, literally looked good. The way that they were described and spoke about, I feel like it was very telling. And yeah, just wasn't giving like stereotypical trauma story with the single mother who has 5 kids and is trying to navigate. Like, I feel like we've seen enough of that in the media. So I want something fluffy and nice and romantic and like dreamy. And some of the things that they were experiencing are things that we as young people have experienced before. Like the playlist was everything. It was very nostalgic, so I really like that. Severance was another one of those shows that really had me hooked. I feel like it's a bit of a slow burn because I went into it blind, so I really had no idea what was going on. Like those first few episodes, I was like, this is supposedly so good, and I've been wanting to get into it, but there was like no promotion on it at all. I just heard people talking about it, and finally like somebody at my job was like, you should watch that, it's good. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna watch it, and it is good. Like it was my comfort show for a little bit. Like I was hooked watching it. So I don't really want to say too much because I don't want to give it away, but you should check out Severance on Apple TV. Last but not least, in June, I watched America's Sweethearts, which is the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders series that comes on Netflix. And I love the 1st season, I love the 2nd season, I love the girls standing up for their right to be like, hey, we make an incredible impact on social media and in real life, we should get paid more. I love seeing like the behind the scenes lives and voices of the young ladies too. So I will for sure be watching the following season that'll be coming. Okay, so moving into July, first off, we have Cannon Busters, which is an all Black anime. And I had high expectations for this. I guess I really didn't. I literally just watched it because it was an all Black anime and I'm like, of course. But it apparently got canceled after the 1st season. So it's like, I watched it and then went to look for the next season and everybody was like, yeah, it's canceled. So whatever. I mean, I thought it was a cool show. I wasn't really that engaged with it. I literally was just watching it because I'm like, representation. But yeah, it was whatever. After that, I saw The Twister Caught in the Storm, which this is one of those limited series that like will have you looking at the wall for an hour afterward because the stories are just so devastating. They have the footage of the actual twister that occurred. It's my microwave going off. And then they have like the victims speaking about the twister that they survived or like how it impacted them to this day and stuff like that. I forget where it actually takes place, but really interesting story, devastating story. I would recommend you to watch it. So also finally got caught up on Ginny and Georgia, and this season infuriated me. Like it was just, I'm not gonna give anything away, but the way Max's brother was acting, it's like, okay, we're talking about mental health and about the things people deal with. So I want to be careful in saying like he was so annoying because when you have like clinical depression or things that you're dealing with, like you often are showing up in the world in a way that may appear one way to other people and another way in your head. So I don't want to be like, oh my gosh, he was so annoying. Like he had depression. Like of course, these are things that he's dealing with. So it may be like a little inconvenient for him to be sad or whatever for other people, but he's dealing with a lot of these real life ramifications. But also like Jenny, the way that she was acting towards Max, towards the like throughout the series and the friendship dynamic changes and things like that, it's just kind of like, oof, like I've had some of those same like feelings and experiences. So it was a good season in terms of like making you feel. I feel like the best actors, the best shows, the best movies, they make you feel something. So I guess it did its job. It was so hot in the sun, and I'm not looking, trying not to look like in the camera because I don't want to be blinded, but moving right along, I watched Empire Records, which is a 90s movie, if I'm not mistaken, which very much gave 90s, like the concept, the way the movie like was shot, I guess, like how it looks to me, it looks like an older movie, which I like. I like movies that look like they're from the time period that they're in. So Empire Records was cool. I really liked the idea that the entire plot of the movie was based on like one day. And yeah, like I just thought it was a cute 90s movie. I forget what I was doing that day, but I was like, yeah, I want to watch this. Also in July, I saw Turning Point, the Vietnam War, which is another one of those things that will have you staring at the wall, like thinking about it when you go to sleep. Or at least it did it for me, because I remember learning about a lot of these things, like a lot of these wars and these heroes and whatnot in school. But then, I don't know, for some reason, I was just so interested in it in July. I'm like, I want to watch this. And then I got hooked. Like I watched so many episodes back to back to back. And they're pretty lengthy episodes about history, which you would think is boring to some people. But I watched the entire thing and just learning so much about the destruction of the Vietnam War and the US relations with Vietnam, and just, it was really interesting. I'm happy that I watched it because now I have like a better idea of the impact of the war, because you would hear veterans talk all the time about the things that they went through. But watching that documentary and seeing a lot of these things in depth, it's like, okay, wow, this is a lot. So yeah, I would recommend that as well. August, I watched Jujutsu Kaisen, which was a rec for my brother. I'm officially back on my anime game. When I first got into anime, I think it was around COVID, and I just started and stopped a bunch of those. So Jujutsu Kaisen I had never seen before. I watched it, really liked it. Can't wait for the new season or the movie that's coming out in, I think it's December of this year. So I'm looking forward to that. The next one, Adolescence, you must watch. Several of their actors just won Emmys, which they don't just give anybody an Emmy. Like, it's so good. I don't even want to say anything about it because I feel like that kind of gives away the plot. But just watch it. Just look at the description and watch it. Sirens is another limited series that I liked. Not as much as Adolescence, but I still liked it. So you should check that out. It's basically about this girl who's an assistant to a CEO of a business. You kind of see the complexities of her relationship with her sister and how it relates to the job that she's at now. And again, I don't want to give too much away, but yeah, you should watch that too. The last few things I watched in August for movies, I got into my like psychological thriller bag. I don't know why. I found a list on Pinterest that had like the movies and then the mental illnesses or like the disorders or whatever that could be found in the characters in the movies. So I kind of went down that list and I watched The Machinist, or The Machinist. I think it's Machinist. That sounds better. With, who's in that? Christian Bale, I think. And I liked it. It wasn't anything like, oh my gosh, that was so good, but I think it really like, actually no, towards the end, I was like, wait, yeah, this is cool. So that's one I recommend as well. And I think the disorders played in that was PTSD, if I'm not mistaken. The next one I watched was Donnie Darko. I forget which mental illness or disorder was associated with that one, but that's an older movie. I think it's 90s or early 2000s. I think 2004 is when that came out. Creepy movie. Jake Gyllenhaal is like such a good actor. The last movie I watched in August was Coherence, which is another psychological thriller, but I didn't really care for that one. Like people in the TikTok comments when I was looking were saying like, oh my gosh, it's so good and blah blah blah, and I watched it the entire time and it was like boring to me. And I was like paying attention. I don't know. To me, it just was like, oh, okay. But maybe it was like really good back in the day, but because movies and technology and like, I feel like everything has been done. So maybe Coherence was a movie that I needed to watch earlier when it wasn't already done, versus me finding it however many years later and it's like, oh, I've already seen like 5 movies similar to that. But yeah, that's what I watched in June, July, and August. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you guys get inspired to maybe try some new shows. I, again, never finish anything because I'm always on YouTube. So me clearing out my watch list on these different platforms has been really satisfying and really cool because I can actually watch the shows that I've been meaning to watch. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed and I will see you in the next one.